Who hasn't had to cut back these days, especially when it comes to government? At the state level, almost every department has had to make do with less over the last several years. The key word is almost. There is one area of state funding that hasn't even hit the budget radar. News 13's Tim Iastis is on special assignment.
Thousands of art pieces, paintings, fancy doors, sculptures, and chandeliers. They dot the ceilings, line the walls of public buildings, and decorate the outdoors. The state's collection of publicly funded art pieces is big and getting bigger.
We're concerned about this kind of spending on what are undoubtedly luxuries.
Paul Gessing is president of the Rio Grande Foundation, a conservative watchdog group. Are you an art lover?
I am. I like variety of art. I'm not a big fan of having the taxpayers pay for it.
State spending on public art is protected by state law. Passed in 1986, the law states 1% of every dollar spent on capital improvement projects goes to purchase public art, even in tough economic times. Remember the 2011 legislative session? That's when state lawmakers were struggling to address a budget deficit estimated at more than $400 million. Virtually every arm of state government had to undergo budget cuts. It was big news.
Securing a spending plan was no easy task. Legislators say for the third straight year, they had to do more with less.
We tried to spread the pain equally across the board.
But invoices obtained by News 13 show art spending continued on a collection of high-dollar items. As lawmakers spent the 2011 session debating the best ways to save money, just over $20,000 went to this stainless steel sculpture. For $20,500, taxpayers bought this sculpture for the state land office. Another $16,000 went toward this sculpture, and just over $17,000 paid for these pieces. Days after the legislative session ended, the state paid $50,000 for a collection of photographs called The Value of a Dollar.
Part of our culture, a very significant part of our culture, is the art of our people.
State Cultural Affairs Secretary Veronica Gonzalez oversees the department doing the buying. She says art is an important part of the state's economy, a $3.3 billion industry for New Mexico. Of that, more than $1 billion comes from arts-connected tourism.
New Mexico has become known as a mecca, very rich in artistic talent and art.
Invoices confirm even more high-dollar items were bought this year. The purchases include more than $26,000 for this painting, $22,000 for this one, $35,000 went for this sculpture for the front of DPS headquarters in Santa Fe. Each piece bought under the state's 1% for public art statute. It's the law.
It's the law. Yeah, it's the law. So you don't have the discretion to spend it however you would like.
The governor's office and top state lawmakers tell us arts funding has not entered the discussion when it comes to budget cuts. In fact, one lawmaker told us it wouldn't make very much of a dent when it comes to the state's overall budget concerns. The amount of public arts dollars has dropped over the last 4 fiscal years by about $800,000 because of the reduction in capital improvement spending. Still, more than $2.4 million went to public art during those 4 years.
It cannot be spent on general fund operations or other things that the state might deem a priority.
Even arts education in schools is not an option. Paul Gessing says he has better ideas for the money.
If you want to promote art, you should allocate space and make it available for up-and-coming artists to display their wares and perhaps even sell them, make them available to the public, their accoutrements, baubles, that really are not something that are the central focus of government. And we wish that the state would focus less on that kind of spending.
Tim Iastis, KRQE News 13.
The State Cultural Affairs Department, like other state departments, has experienced general fund budget cuts, about $8 million worth over the last 4 fiscal years. But that money would have paid for mostly operational costs. It would not have paid for the purchase of artwork.
Quick update.